robot just showed up that made everyone at NASA stop and stare. Not because of what it can do, because of what it looks like. It doesn't move like anything you've ever seen. It doesn't even have the same body as any robot you know. And the reason it was built this way is the part that's going to mess with your head. This is Helios. And once you get it, you won't be able to unsee it. Why it looks like that. Okay, so first thing. Legs in space, they're useless, like completely pointless. You're not walking anywhere, you're floating, grabbing handrails, pulling yourself through corridors. Your legs just hang there doing absolutely nothing. Dead weight that someone still had to pay to launch into orbit. Think about that for a second. You trained for years. You flew hundreds of miles above the Earth. And your legs are just along for the ride. So this Canadian company called Orbit Robotics looked at that problem and asked a question nobody else was asking. What if we just got rid of the legs entirely and put 2 extra arms there instead? 4 arms, no legs. That's it. That's why it looks the way it does. And once you think about what that actually means in practice, it's kind of genius. The top 2 arms grab onto a wall or a handrail. Robot is locked in place, completely stable, not going anywhere. Now the bottom 2 arms are totally free. Open a panel, move a cargo box, fix something broken, all at the same time, while the robot stays planted. Try doing that with 2 arms and 0 gravity. You literally can't. 1 arm keeps you from floating away. The other arm does the work. And you've got nothing left over for anything else. Astronauts deal with this every single day up there. Every task takes longer because of it. Every repair is harder because of it. Helios just doesn't have that problem. And that's what got NASA's attention. Not because it's scary. Not because it looks like something from a movie. Because it's so obvious in hindsight, it almost feels embarrassing that nobody did it sooner. How the arms work. Now here's where it gets clever. Most robots put a motor at every single joint. 1 at the shoulder, 1 at the elbow, 1 at the wrist. Works fine on Earth, but heavy arms and 0 gravity are a real problem. Every time you move them, the whole robot gets pushed the other direction. Newton's third law. Every action, equal and opposite reaction. On Earth, gravity keeps you grounded. In space, it doesn't. Every movement matters. Helios solves this differently. All the heavy motors sit up near the shoulders. Then cables run down the arms like tendons and pull the joints into position. Think about your own arm for a second. Your bicep sits up near your shoulder, but it moves your forearm through a tendon at your elbow. Same idea, just engineered into a robot arm. So the arms themselves are light, fast, smooth. The elbows never get stiff or locked up. Low friction. Clean movement every single time. And the hands? 5 fingers on each one. Not claws, not grippers. 5 actual fingers precise enough for the kind of delicate repairs that astronauts currently have to do by hand. Screws, panels, cables, all of it. The structural parts are 3D printed, so when something needs improving, they redesign it and print a new version in days. Not months, not years. Days? That speed matters more than most people realize when you're trying to build something that's never existed before. That's what happens when you stop trying to make a robot look human and just build it to actually work in the place it's going to live. The brain. Here's something most people don't think about when they imagine a space robot. When you send a signal from Earth to the space station, there's a delay, even just a couple of seconds. And if a robot is holding something fragile or working right next to an astronaut, a couple of seconds of lag isn't just inconvenient. It's genuinely dangerous. So Helios makes its own decisions. Right there on board. No waiting around for instructions from the ground. It has 2 cameras in its head that read depth in real time. Same way your 2 eyes work together to figure out how far away something is. Your brain does that automatically. Helios does the same thing, just with cameras instead of eyes. Sensors on every joint track how hard it's gripping, where each arm is positioned, whether anything is getting too hot. It's constantly aware of its own body and what's happening around it. It looks at a task, makes a plan, grabs the right tool, gets it done by itself inside a space station. That's not a remote-controlled machine waiting for someone on the ground to tell it what to do next. That's something much closer to an autonomous crew member. And in space, that difference is everything. The testing platform. Now to be clear, Helios hasn't been to space yet. Right now it's been tested hanging from straps in a setup that mimics a space station environment. Still a prototype. Still early days. That's an important thing to say honestly. But here's the part that actually impressed me more than the robot itself. They built an entire separate testing platform called Icarus to train it, improve it, and push it further. And they built it in 2 months. 60 days. A full system for controlling it remotely, teaching it how to handle tasks on its own, and testing new hardware ideas. Normal aerospace projects take years just to clear the planning phase. Orbit Robotics built a working test environment in the time it takes most people to redecorate their apartments. They test something. It doesn't work the way they wanted. They figure out why. They 3D print a better version. Test it again. The whole cycle happens in weeks, not years. The robot is still being developed and refined. But the engine for making it better is already built and already running. And that tells you something important about this team. They're not waiting until everything is perfect to start. They're building and improving at the same time. In aerospace, that's genuinely rare. The problem it solves. Here's the number that changes how you see all of this. 35%. That's how much of an astronaut's time on a space station goes to maintenance. Routine repairs, unpacking cargo, inventory management, not science, not research, not the reason anyone flew up there in the first place. Just keeping the station running day to day. Let that sit for a moment. A third of their time. Gone. Cargo unloading alone can eat 50 hours on a single mission. 50 hours. That's more than 2 full working days just moving boxes from one place to another. Now think about what it actually costs to get a human being up there. Years of training, millions of dollars per seat on a rocket, months of preparation for a single mission, and when they finally arrive, a third of their time disappears into tasks a robot could handle. If Helios takes on even half of that workload, you're getting back hundreds of hours of astronaut time per mission. Hundreds of hours that go directly into actual science instead. And here's the other side of that equation. Helios doesn't need food, doesn't need water, doesn't need a spacesuit, doesn't need life support, doesn't need sleep. It works around the clock while the crew focuses on the work only humans can do. That's not just useful. That's a completely different way of thinking about how we staff a space mission. That's the real reason NASA is paying attention. Not because Helios looks impressive in a demo clip. Because the numbers make sense. And in space, the numbers always win. The internet reacts A&D where this goes. When footage of Helios dropped online, the internet had a full moment. People called it General Grievous. Others said it looked like something out of a horror movie. One comment just said, "Oh my god, it's a space robot," which honestly is a completely fair reaction. No notes. And look, it is unsettling at first. 4 arms, no legs, floating through a corridor. Your brain sees something that's almost human, but not quite, and just doesn't know what to file it under. That instinct makes total sense. We're wired to notice when something is almost human, but slightly wrong. It trips something deep in us. But here's the reframe that matters. The robots that actually work in space won't look like us. They'll look like whatever shape solves the problem they were built for. Helios looks strange because it wasn't designed to make us comfortable. It was designed to work in an environment where our own body shape is basically wrong for the job. 4 arms beats 2. No legs beats dead weight. The design makes complete sense once you stop expecting it to look familiar. And the market for exactly this kind of robot is about to grow fast. Axiom Station is coming. Orbital Reef is coming. Lunar bases are moving from concept to actual roadmaps. Every single one of those places needs robots that work in zero gravity. Not modified warehouse robots with legs they can't use. Not humanoids forced into a shape that doesn't fit the environment. Machines built from scratch for that world. Helios is the first one built that way. Purpose built from the ground up. And the thing about being first is that the people who lay the foundation usually end up building everything that comes after it too. We're watching something genuinely new happen here. The first real generation of robots designed not for the planet we evolved on, but for the places we're moving into. That's a big deal. Even if it does look like it's about to fight Obi-Wan. So here's my question for you. Would you trust a four-armed legless robot floating around your space station? Or does that still genuinely freak you out? Drop it in the comments because I actually want to know. And if you want to see what humanoid robots are doing back here on Earth, including the one that literally kicked its own CEO across a room to prove it wasn't CGE, that video is right here. Subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next.